Finally, it's here. The one live action streaming service that I have been waiting for has arrived on Disney Plus. Star Wars Ahsoka is here. But here's the thing. Is it worth it? Has the wait been worth it? I'm going to give you 4 reasons why you should check out Ahsoka on Disney Plus. But before all that, go into the description and remember to click on that link for a free fantasy ebook. Download that right now. And remember to like and follow and share and all of that fun stuff so you can get more great content. All right, let's do it. Welcome back to the YouTube channel Great Stories Change the World, where a fantasy science fiction author, that's me, reviews movies and TV shows and books and also gives you tips on writing because I believe great stories have great impact. They've got a lot of power to change lives, to change people's perspectives, and therefore change the world. And today we're going to be going over Ahsoka. This is the one series that, as I said in the introduction, that I have been waiting for. So full disclosure, Ahsoka is one of my favorite Star Wars characters, period. I have loved Ahsoka since day one, although I'll have to say maybe I didn't love her because Filoni didn't really write her to be loved in the beginning, but I thought she was an interesting character in the beginning when they did the Clone Wars. And as I followed her through the Clone Wars and then Rebels, she has become, at least in my top 5, if not my top 2 or 3, Star Wars characters of all time. I believe that she is the greatest Star Wars character outside of the original trilogy. And I think a lot of people feel this way, and different people have their favorites probably. Mandalorian, Din Djarin, he's kind of right there below her. But she's a phenomenal character, and Filoni did such a great job with the Clone Wars and then Rebels. And I'll also give a little, disclosure here. I love Rebels, and me and my family, my kids especially, have watched the Clone Wars, most of the Clone Wars as a family, but we've definitely watched all of Rebels as a family. And I gotta say, just as an aside, when Rebels came out, I wasn't so sure about it. I didn't know if I was going to like it because, these weren't the classic characters. What they did with Clone Wars is they gave us Anakin and Obi-Wan and some of these classic characters from the movies and just gave us more information. But here with Rebels, we were starting with this whole new cast. And I got to say, it didn't take me long before I really fell in love with Rebels. And when they brought Ahsoka into that show, it was so powerful. And so here comes the live action streaming series on Disney Plus of Ahsoka. And it's not Rebels, it's Ahsoka, but it's really tied to Rebels. And man, we've been waiting for this for a while. They brought Ahsoka in as a character. Rosario Dawson came in and played Ahsoka on The Mandalorian. And so we got a little bit of an introduction with her. She was in Boba Fett a little bit, 1 or 2 of the episodes there. And so we've kind of seen the character, and I love those episodes just because mainly I love her character. And of course, this is Filoni's character. Dave Filoni came up with this character. He developed her, but she's no longer a kid. She's no longer a Padawan. And by the way, just another aside, if you haven't seen that last season of the Clone Wars, there's a couple average episodes, but overall, that last season that they did where they finished up the Clone Wars with Ahsoka is phenomenal. It's so good. And so I had my hopes up with this. I have been really looking forward to this, but at the same time, I know this is Disney Plus. I know this is modern Star Wars. I know this is Kathleen Kennedy. I know there's some different influences here that could have their play into how good this thing really is. But I also knew that Dave Filoni was involved. And now that Filoni is involved, and of course he and Favreau with The Mandalorian, I have not been shy about how much I love The Mandalorian in general. Season 3 was more average to me, but I've loved The Mandalorian. So knowing that Filoni is going to be involved really gave me sort of high expectations for this. And of course, seeing all the posters and knowing where they were going with this, and there were some hints in The Mandalorian that Thrawn was going to be involved, and we could talk about that, about Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now, this is a guy from kind of the Star Wars novels, and one of the first really popular Star Wars novels that came about, and he was like the main bad guy, and they brought him into Rebels. And so there's a lot of stuff going on here, a lot mixing in here that is getting me really excited, because I love these characters and I love the way Filoni handled them in Rebels, and so I was looking forward to this show. So what are my 4 reasons you should watch it? Because the first 2 episodes dropped on basically Wednesday, Tuesday night, Wednesday, here in America. And so here's going to be my review, my 4 reasons why you should watch this show. All right, so number 1, this is one of the best characters and one of the best collection of characters, but outside of the original trilogy that we've seen. The interaction between characters, the different ideas about the Force and the storylines. I'm telling you, this beats, in my opinion, the Clone Wars. I think Rebels is actually better in a lot of ways than the show The Clone Wars. And people will argue with me about that, but I think it's better, definitely better than the episodes 1, 2, and 3, the prequels, and way better than the sequels, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9. And so these are some great characters, and so you should watch this because the characterizations are great, the interaction between different characters are great, and there's so much going on that there's a background for, that even if you maybe haven't seen Rebels, I think there's still a lot that you can kind of gather about characterizations from here, and they do a pretty good job just giving you a great story at the same time without you maybe needing to know a whole lot about Rebels. It helps, and you really should watch Rebels if you haven't noticed. But again, this is one of the greatest characters, written by the guy who, created this thing, and so you should check it out for that reason. Number 2, this is going to finish the story of Ezra. Now, we all know this from the trailers and the posters and the different things that we've seen, all the marketing material leading up to it. We know Thrawn's going to be involved, and they kind of went over that in Andor as well. So they've been leading up to this. So spoiler alert, Thrawn was supposedly dead or disappeared at the end of Rebels, and this was before the original trilogy, around the same time. And so also there was the main character of Rebels, Ezra. He also disappears. So that's a spoiler alert, and if you're going to watch this, that's a spoiler for Rebels if you haven't seen that show, Rebels. So, but at the end of Rebels, they leave some story hanging. They don't know what happened to these characters, especially Ezra, who they were very fond of, and he was the central character. And so here we have, a few years after the rebellion is over and the New Republic, now along with Thrawn kind of showing up again and rumors about him, these characters are thinking, hey, maybe Ezra is around too. Maybe he isn't gone. And so I thought that was a good way to kind of bring this back. Again, I don't know if it was a criticism, but one of my main disappointments with Rebels is they left that open at the end of the series. After 3 seasons or whatever it was, they just kind of left it open and left us hanging. And so this is going to bring some resolution to that story. And so this isn't just kind of coming up with a new story. It is, but not trying to convolute some sort of story. It's really giving us some resolution that we didn't have in Rebels. And so that's another reason you should definitely check this out. Number 3, the writing is very good. I'm really enjoying the writing. In these first 2 episodes, I like the new characters. I like the background they're kind of building with some of these new characters. I like most of the actors. Rosario Dawson, she's kind of doing some, not tricks, but she's kind of doing some of the same things over and over again. She crosses her arms a lot, and I kind of wish she would kind of mix up some of her acting, but she's awesome in general. And again, the writing and the characters, I love the way that they're using the droid. Ahsoka has a droid, Huang, or whatever his name is, and he used to be in the Jedi Temple. And so I love the way that they're using him and some of the interactions between characters because, again, great story is about great character and growth. And so they're setting this up nicely in the beginning with Sabine and Ahsoka, essentially, those two specifically, and their kind of growth as characters is where I think we're going to go with the show in general. I think that's kind of where we're going to focus on as we get through these episodes. So that's number 2. Oh, no, that was number 3. Number 4, it's giving us what we want. We should watch this show, and you should watch this show if you are a fan of Star Wars, and definitely if you're a fan of Rebels. This is great Star Wars. It's got space battles, it's got lightsaber duels, it's Star Wars. This is classic Star Wars, and yet with great writing, with great characters, and it's giving us what we want in the live action. We're getting to see Hera, we're getting to see the Phantom, we're getting to see Chopper, we're getting to see Sabine, so we're getting to see Ezra, we're getting to see a lot of these characters in live action that we want to see. And so all of those are reasons why you should watch this. And of course, along with The Mandalorian, what this show does, at least through these first couple episodes, is they're giving us the nostalgia of Rebels. So if you're a fan of Rebels, you're just going to go, oh my gosh, it's a Lothcat, right? We're on Lothal and all of that sort of stuff. You're going to love that part because you're going to notice a lot of the settings and different areas that they bring in. But it's a new story in a new context, and they're taking these characters forward and giving us a reason to care as we go forward. It's not just, well, let's just kind of do these things, for fun and entertainment. It's giving us a great story, and I think there's going to be some great themes about friendship and training and self-confidence, and there's some themes that have already happened through the first couple episodes that I really enjoy. And of course, I love Sabine as a character, and she has some Mandalorian connections, obviously, if you know the show. So who knows where they're going to take this in the bigger universe at the same time. So you let me know what you think of Ahsoka, the first 2 episodes. Let me know what you think. So I've rambled about what I think. Obviously, I'm loving it. Again, I wish some of the acting wasn't as stiff, especially with Rosario Dawson. And it's really sad that Ray Stevenson passed away. So Ray Stevenson, if you don't know who he is, you would recognize him. He did one of the best Punisher movies, in my opinion, maybe the best Punisher movie. He was the Punisher, and he was also Firefly in one of the G.I. Joe movies. So he has some history in a lot of this stuff. Anyway, he passed away in May, and so they have a little note saying in memory of Ray and our friend and all that stuff. So that's very sad. But besides some of those sort of issues, I think this is overwhelmingly a home run for Disney Plus and Marvel, and I think Disney Plus needs a home run. To be honest, they've lost almost $1 billion from different things over the last year or two, so they need a hit. They need something positive, and I think this is it. And Filoni is saving the day again, just like he and Favreau did with The Mandalorian. So again, you let me know what you think. And remember to subscribe, like, follow, all of that stuff. Go into the description and pick up that free ebook, download it, and until next time, peace out.